All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus. It is time to react to the PFF grades and the Vikings' horrifying and horrible loss to the LA Rams. Before we get into that, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like, and comment. And thanks for everybody who hopped on the live stream last night and watched as we all were disappointed by our Vikings for the second game in a row. All right, so again, PFF, disclaimer I give every single week. Some people consider this gospel. Others don't believe in it very much. But obviously, this is a system that they have a very proven grading scale, and we're going to react to the Vikings grades that they gave out: top offense, top defense, bottom offense, bottom defense. And I also just like to compare this to what we saw, how we saw the game, who was on our winners and losers list, who was considered a stud, and see if they do compare. So let's start with bottom. We're going to end on the high note. Bottom five offensively, number 5, Ed Ingram, 57.5. That's actually a good grade for Ed Ingram. He's graded out, I think, as low as the 20s. He's been in the 30s. So Ed Ingram with a 57.5. It's not good, but it's good for him. Brandon Powell, he was the 4th worst according to PFF with a 57.2. Again, I'm just trying to think offensively, how much was he factored in? I don't remember him out there a whole ton. He had some some punt returns that I was kind of holding my breath on. But 57.2 for Brandon Powell, I guess you can't really argue that. I think that they have a minimum of 5 snaps or something like that. So Powell, whatever, is what it is. Fullback CJ Ham with the 55.3. I know early in the game he had that one where he was like leading around. Looked like he kind of slipped, kind of hit the hole at a weird angle. I don't know if he missed his block or not. But CJ Ham, 55.3. Not great, but again, not enough. Like, I didn't see him do a lot of good things. So that seems fair. That does seem fair. Garrett Bradbury with the 52.3. Yeah, I mean, going against a Rams O line or D line that's got a lot of young players on it. Bradbury, he is what he is. 52.3 is kind of what we come to expect from him. He can get the second level in the run game at times. He misses a lot of blocks. He makes a few. He's not a very great player, but 52.3 for him. You can't argue that either. So far, I mean, honestly, these bottom 5, I'm not disagreeing with any of them. And then the worst graded offensive player for the Vikings was Jalen Nailor with a 42.0. That drop was absolutely killer. Sam Darnold, yeah, he could have took off and run, but when you got your receiver there who not only had the first down, he had a clear path to the end zone. That would have been a touchdown. Would have swung the whole game. Whole game was riding on that play. Yeah, there's reasons why we were in that position that the defense have a lot to do with, but Jalen Nailor, you have to catch that football. We're talking just the other day about this Adam Thielen trade rumors that was put out there. We're like, no, we'd rather have Jalen Nailor. Well, you know what? Adam Thielen catches that ball 10 times out of 10. He ain't dropping that thing. So Jalen Nailor, well-deserved, 42.0. Might as well give him a 2.0 for dropping that. It was that bad. Let's go over to defense. Bottom 5 defensively. Pat Jones hasn't really been a favorite of PFF this year, even in his good games. 47.4. I mean, like many of our edge rushers, I mean, Grenard got in there a little bit. Ginkle had his moments, but just the consistent pressure wasn't there. And you look like Pat Jones, Jihad Ward, those guys who have these part-time roles who have been getting home, not doing it. 47.4, he came in as your 5th worst. Hard to argue that one. At 4 was Stephon Gilmore with a 44.7. Gilly, he saved us in the Jets game. Veteran move. It paid off there. He just looked old tonight against the Rams. He couldn't tackle. Like, I don't think he even wanted to tackle that first play of the game. Big whiff. I think it was Puka Nacua that he could have took out. Misses the tackle. They go get a first down. That just kind of set the tone for their offense the entire game. Gilly, I know you're an old man, but you're still playing football. You're still getting paid. You got to tackle. So 44.7. I actually thought it might be lower than that. Josh Metellus with a 43.2. Again, I don't remember him making any glaring mistakes, but again, this defense wasn't good. So definitely, if you pick on anybody in defense and give him a shitty grade, I'm not going to argue with that. Kamu Grugier-Hill filling in the Cashman/Pace role. Our inside linebackers were horrible last night. Kamu Grugier-Hill, 39.3. He had that great game against, who was it, the Texans? And just hasn't been doing much since then. I know he graded out very poorly last week as well. I think he had a score in the 20s. So any inside linebacker, I'm surprised it's not Ivan Pace Jr., but it's not. Hottie Hottie Ward, he was your lowest ranked defensive player by PFF with a 32.9. Not good. Again, we had a problem getting to the quarterback, and were we sending everybody? No. But again, when you're out there filling in, you got to do your job. And Hottie Ward with 32.9. Yeah, I could see it. Again, I'm surprised Ivan Pace Jr. wasn't in the top 5, or bottom 5, I should say, because he was that bad. All right, let's go over to the top 5, and we're going to stay on defense. Van Ginkel, the Ginker, with a 71.8. He was tied for 4 with Jerry Tillery, 71.8. Ginker, I think they were double teaming him a lot. Like, they knew he was coming. I clearly remember watching one play where I know he was double teamed, but he still had, I know he had about 7 tackles. He had pressure, tackle for loss. So he was in there doing his thing. Tillery, again, I know I saw him on a couple plays making some tackles. It was really a tough day overall for the Vikings to tackle last night against the Rams. And Tillery, I know I saw him make a couple nice ones. Byron Murphy with an 80, a flat out 80.0. He was the spark. This defense was just, the Rams offense was having away with their defense. We're like, we need a spark, Byron Murphy has a beautiful interception. He had a great pass breakup where he was beaten, but he just turned on the Jets, closed down in a hurry, swatted the ball away at the last second. So Byron Murphy with an 80.0, well-deserved. Jalen Redmond, the man who got his walking papers a week ago, was back on the team, called up. He comes up with an 85.3 from PFF. Yeah, I saw him in there making some plays, so well-deserved. You love seeing that from Jalen Redmond, a guy having a good game, having a solid game, a guy who we just went through, being released and back on the practice squad and getting called. And that's probably going to happen to him a few more times this year, but it's a great story, and Redmond continues to develop. So we'll see what we have with him in the future. And then your top-rated defensive player was Jonathan Grenard with an 89.8. Well-deserved. He had the swatted ball. He had some pressures on his own. He's got that wicked-ass spin move. Grenard is the man. So 89.8, well-deserved. 100% agree with that. He was one of the few bright spots on defense last night. Let's switch over to offense with your highest-rated players. Right tackle Brian O'Neill with a 71.6. It was weird because we ran the ball 19 times with Jones. I think he averaged like 3.1 yards per carry. There was some pressure late in this thing, but I don't feel like it was over O'Neill's side. So 71.6, yeah, I'm fine with that. Not going to argue that. Aaron Jones, 73.2. It was weird. Like, you look at Jones' stat line running, it felt like he had more on the ground. I know he had a couple great catches. He had almost 95 total yards. I thought he did more watching it. Like, how he fights and scraps and pushes and gets those extra yards is very, very impressive. Aaron Jones is getting a big workload from the Vikings, and I wonder if we're going to start seeing Cam Akers get some more touches because we're going to run this guy into the ground at this rate. But he's good. Our offense is so much better when he's the back there. Everything just changes when it is Ty Chandler. Trent Sherfield with an 82.4. He had the touchdown. Who would have called that a Trent Sherfield touchdown? But he did it, and he graded out an 82.4. I'm not sure what he did beyond that. Maybe he had some great blocking. I don't know. But 82.4 for Trent Sherfield. Sure, why not? Sam Darnold, 83.4. Hell yeah. Sam Darnold was not the reason we lost this game. 2 touchdowns through the air. He had about 240 through the air as well. I thought he had a good game. He did feel some pressure. He had one of those grounder throws that he likes to do. But again, that ball to Jalen Naylor, that would have changed everything. Then, the whole face mask in the end zone. Will we win the game? Probably not, but he has a chance to drive the team down and go for it. And that was taken away from him on a horseshit call by the refs. So you hate seeing that, but Darnold, again, not the reason we lost this game. I thought he played pretty well, so I agree with the 83.4 from PFF. And then finally, Justin Jefferson, 87.7. Just keep throwing. It was a thing of beauty. It just seems like, early it was tons of Jefferson, then nothing, then all of a sudden he kind of shows up again later. I'd like to see more consistent usage from KOC when it comes to Justin Jefferson. Just keep feeding him. So, again, the fact that he's the top-rated player does not shock me one bit. So those are your PFF grades. Highs and lows, the top 5s in the loss to the Rams. Vikings fall to 5-2. A little bit of a mini bye here before they face the Colts at home on Sunday Night Football. All right, let me know what you guys think of these grades. And always remember to keep your skull right there in your hole.